back to, I agree with you with everything looks planned. It looks staged, of course. We're seeing it duplicated across the planet right now. What's your feel as to the why? Is it because the pandemic didn't work or didn't last up until the election? They need something to fill the gap until, like George Webb says, the second virus might hit in October. Was this planned in the first place? Is it in conjunction? Like, what are your insiders saying about it? Like, because it just came out of the blue. Like, it didn't seem to be. Um, how do I say it? It's too cute, or it's too stupid to be stupid. I don't know what else to say, but it just struck me as odd, and so I was wondering really what's going on. Like it doesn't make any sense right now.
Well, I think again, people being triggered, their emotions, and yes, there's. So I put an article out there. I have contact with various sources that are directly connected to Trump and his team, so I get information that way, and I have been told, and I put this out there already in a couple interviews that. Trump and JFK Jr. and the team, Q and the team, that their plan was to have basically they're planning to take back and reconstitute or bring forth the republic, because right now the U.S. is a corporation, and if you've followed that train of thought, you understand that the U.S. has actually had to report to the Queen of England. But recently, the Queen of England has actually been, in essence, deposed, and there are videos showing Buckingham Palace, her seal, her crest, has been removed from one side of the gates, not both, if I understand it, unless they've done both by now. And I don't know if that's expediency or a symbol or who the hell knows what. But I already knew before that happened that Trump put like 10,000 troops into Britain, and that they were also 35,000, I think it was, into Europe. And, that's probably been forgotten by everybody. It's just like the rollout of what appeared to be martial law in the beginning of the COVID crisis. They moved tons of equipment and military vehicles and military personnel into place. But those people are already still in place. People don't, I don't know, they don't retain over time. So if you know this has already been set up, then you know that there's a timeline here, and the Q people and Trump are very well aware of the timeline, and there's evidence that they've used looking glass, which is a technology that came from ETs that we talked about with Dan Burish way back in, like 15 years ago. But we know that the deep state and the secret government has this, but we have heard that Trump is also relying on some kind of technology like that. So they are looking at a future timeline. They are taking and making moves, knowing it's like move, counter move. And so when the Illuminati does one thing, they are prepared and they can make their move. And so it's like a chess game, right? And that's what we're seeing. So it's important to realize this is what's going on. And people that want to discount Q or say Trump is, a racist or whatever they want to say, this is actually missing everything. Because if you're not paying attention and delving into the history and looking at what's going on, and you don't realize that, as I had a dream sequence very recently that verified for me personally that JFK Jr. is alive. So I was given that information. Now, you don't have to believe me, but it's also all over the internet. And this has been known by followers, as they call them, of Q. And so there have been hints along these lines, and you can follow that trail as well. So all of this stuff that I talk about is usually out there in one form or another, but I sometimes I get like a piece that other people don't. One of the things that I was told was that this thing about QAnon and Trump and the bringing back of the republic, meaning bringing back the Constitution, because our country is not following our Constitution anymore. You know, all people are created equal. Like that. That's kind of like the beginning of it. So if you understand that that's their motivation, then there's something, and I don't have the law technicalities in front of me at the moment, but apparently there's two ways for Trump to like within the law legally to bring back the republic and to get rid of the corporation. And one of those is martial law. Now, they, I think, were planning, as I've even said, and they put in place all the troops and so on, to have a martial law at some point. And yet, at the same time, they never explained, it never quite happened, and they never explained anything more about it. But my sources say that if they can't do it this other way, they have to do it that way, and they can do it that way. So did they know that these riots were planned? Did they know that the dark side was going to be putting out the bait to trigger enough good people who believe only what they see in front of them and then be triggered emotionally? And of course, what are they doing? They're sitting in their houses with no jobs, and they're mad at the government anyway, and they have a history of being oppressed, no doubt. And this is not superficial. I'm not making light of it for you people out there. I mean, I am fighting for humanity every day of my life, and, you know, publicly, let's say, since, you know, the beginning of Camelot, which goes back to like 2005. So